Hi everyone, welcome to Rishi. Today we will be asking about career guidance for this moment. We have four pals for today. Here is pal 1, pal 2, pal 3, and pal 4. If you need a moment to select your pal, please feel free to pause the video. If you already know which pal you have picked, go to the timestamp listed and fast forward the video to the timestamp below. This is a general reading, so it may or may not resonate to some of you. I hope you enjoy your reading and I hope this helps. See you at the reading. Hi, Group 1. Welcome to your career guidance reading. So, you're in an excellent position. Um, you have worked hard and you have built up a lot of inner professional qualities and abilities and attributes that's going to serve you well. They say that everything takes practice and hard work, and you have put in that effort. And you're whatever field that you're in, you are a strong candidate, and you know this. Your confidence is obvious and it speaks true. So well done. Now you may have already received a news, or you may soon receive a news of an offer, or it could be a new direction, a new direction that is of a slightly different path where from the previous career trajectory that you were on. This is fantastic. Now, if you're in your own business, you would come to a realization of a new direction to take things forward. And this is fantastic. This is fantastic. This is meant to happen, and this is a turning point. I also see that their destiny is at work here. It's as if there is in some external circumstance have been has sort of stirred this situation into its present form. And you see his wheel of fortune here. This is where this path will take you to where you're supposed to be. Now, if it's obvious, then that's great. But I don't think it's immediately obvious from the get-go. Now, this ta-da moment may not come so obviously. So, whatever news that you're getting, whatever choices that you're faced, or if you've already made that decision, it may not be so clear to you at the get-go, but this is the direction that life is taking you towards. It may feel as if this new direction is a little slow to start with. There may be there's uncertainty with respect to any path one takes, but it feels as if things were moving a little slowly. And that's got nothing to do with your abilities, it's more external. Now, whatever that is sort of, I wouldn't use the word hindering, but whatever that is slowing down what appears to be the path that you're going down, it's external. So on your end, there is nothing much for you to do but to stay clear with your intention that this is the direction that is best for you. So however the external circumstances may be, I see that you got to go with the flow a little, and you have to adapt, and you have to be patient. It feels as if that, although fundamentally this is the path you're headed, it will start off rather slowly. And the key to this is to be patient. And instead of focusing on things that we cannot control, which is the external circumstances hindering this path, you ought to hone in on your ability. You got to focus on your skills, on your creativity, and most of all, your your desire. There is a goal that is very personal to you here. Now, this spread doesn't feel like someone with just a career. I would use the word vocation. It's almost as if what you're doing, you feel so strongly about it, it goes beyond a career. It's a vocation here. So, this new path that is happening, this new direction that you're taking, it's going to it's going to start off slowly. So, instead of mulling about the pace or whatever that is hindering its path, bring that focus back to yourself, because you got to think long term here. The external circumstances aren't going to be like that forever. So during this time when you feel like you're sort of suspended, where you can't really move, but you know this is the right direction, now bring that focus back to yourself. There is a fair bit, actually there is a lot of major arcana in this spread. So I feel like this message is very, very important and significant, I would say. So things are great. Whatever little doubts you might have, just cast them aside. I keep hearing the word patience here, um, during which you focus on yourself and what you wish to manifest in the long term, and really hone in on your individual skill set. Um, you're very good at what you do. It it is so obvious. You're very good at what you do, and whatever you do, it serves a purpose. It may not be so obvious to you, but there is a ripple effect here. Now, the one small advice, aside from patience, is actually for you to balance. I see here I see that this is more a balancing of the material and the immaterial. So the material will be monetizing your business, what you're getting is a paycheck, basically worldly success or money. On the other hand, there is there is a portion of it being an emotional fulfillment. Like I said earlier on, this is more a vocation. This is something you feel strongly about. It's almost like a calling, you know? So, but I prefer the word vocation. Um, and because this is such a big aspiration, um, you it's important that you focus on both things at hand. So you have the material world and the immaterial world. Material world is it's money, it's recognition, it's success. And on the other hand, you have emotional fulfillment. Now, I'm sensing from Rishi that this needs to be balanced. You know, very often we go into a profession with a set of ideals. The reality is the world has its own set of limitations and its own set of rules and systems. And money, success, and recognition is part of that. The message here is for you to be very aware of the fine balance between both. A vocation with 100% emotional fulfillment and no material fulfillment is is not balanced. It's ineffective in the longer range of matters. So it's something that you need to balance and sort of mediate and along your career path. I don't see this being an initial problem. I won't even really describe it as a problem in itself, but it's an issue. So if you find yourself veering off, either being heavily weighted on emotional fulfillment, try to stay grounded. Try to realize that material success or economic output is part of that equation. Whatever you're trying to build, the material success needs to be balanced. Now, if you're veering off to the other end of the spectrum where you're solely focused on material success and completely neglecting your emotional fulfillment from your job, then that's where you got to bring it back. So, however you do this check and balance, keep in mind that both are actually essential for this journey. Now, your oracle card guidance from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck is the Turtle Spirit. Slow and steady wins the race. Now, I think the message is pretty obvious. I think it's to go, well, you are suspended anyway. So to go slow, but definitely to steady is another word here. Um, I believe it's asking you to remember to be consistent. You know, there are times when we get very enthusiastic about a new endeavor and we get riled up and we're excited for a couple of months and then the steam blows off and it no longer feels the same. It doesn't feel like we're still passionate about it. So this is saying, have the discipline to go through with it, and be methodical about it. The other message I'm getting is that some of you in this pile might be feeling a sense of impatience because of the gravity of the opportunity here. And you're very excited and you want to get going, but the suspense is sort of the suspense isn't helping your enthusiasm. So you gotta remember to keep that enthusiasm, but realize that you gotta go it slowly. So that's just about the reading for pile one. Overall, this is a very this is an excellent reading. And for pile one out there, I wish you the best of luck. And if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe. Bye bye. Hi, Paul 2. Welcome to your career guidance reading for today. So, it appears that you've been frustrated with your career for a while now. For some of you, perhaps you've been already contemplating leaving your current employment or whichever career path you're currently on, that you've been debating about whether or not this is right for you. And while all that's going on in your head, thinking if you should stay or go, you have you have a fair bit of responsibility on your plate. In fact, the responsibilities might have even increased, and it's becoming unbearable to for you to handle. There has been an increasing and overwhelming amount of responsibility. Now, I also see that part of that increased amount of responsibility is from a lack of understanding from your coworkers or your manager. It appears that there's some there's some politics going on at your workplace, and you've been dissatisfied in with some of the relationships that's been going on. You may have a certain argument or tension, or dislike with a certain group of team member, or it could be your manager or a particular coworker. Um, there's a lot of competitive, and not just competitive, but animosity in your current job situation, and it involves dealing with other people here. And as a result, you've been thinking about options. It could be those options could be just say moving to a different team or completely moving out of the industry. You've been exploring those options in your head. Now, although this is all happening, with the politics and the overwhelming responsibility and, your lack of enthusiasm because of all that has been compiled, and you've been thinking of leaving. Now, despite all this, your current job is stable and it is going to provide you with long-term material wealth. Now, material wealth is subjective, but whatever role you have now, deep down, you know that it's enough, that you're being sufficiently and well paid, and there's a certain level of security and long-term longevity here. Now, on top of this, there is a situation that's going on at work. You may or may not be aware of it at this moment, or it may come across as something inconsequential at the beginning, but there is hope. There is hope in this situation. And this, you got to hone in on what's working here at your workplace instead of what's not working. Because what's going on what it may appear like a lost cause to you. You've got terrible politics, you've got lack of enthusiasm and overwhelming responsibility. Now, everything has its own timing. Because from what I see, the long-term benefits of this job is significant. And whatever decision you choose to make, you really have to keep the long-term benefits in mind. Because the cards here are saying that this job is stable. Whatever role, whatever career, whatever business you're currently in, this is not a fly-by-night operation. This role that you're in is going to provide long-term financial security. And there is a lot of hope in this situation, even though it may not seem obvious at the beginning. Okay, so the advice from Spirit is you don't want to leave this job. The advice from Spirit, the advice from Rishi is to stay where you currently at. It may not be what you were thinking about moving on, but this is not the right time. Now, that could change in the future, where perhaps a better opportunity comes along. And so, despite how amazing this current role may appear, well, a better opportunity comes along. But right now, at this very moment, the advice from Rishi is to stay put at your current situation and to not contemplate or consider a different move. Now, there's also another advice on top of that, which is diplomacy. Whatever that's been bothering you with this coworker or a bunch of coworkers or a particular manager, someone at work who's been really bothering you, you've got to learn how to be as diplomatic as possible. Now, the situation may seem very, it may seem beyond salvage. However, it is possible to make peace. And the other advice I'm getting is to curb your enthusiasm. Now, I know that was a bit of a shocking moment. Curb your enthusiasm for your career. Well, that's actually it. I think very oftentimes we go into a job and we're looking for some kind of career development or personal development. We want it to be challenging enough that we feel passionate about it. Very often, what we end up doing is rather mundane. However, it pays the bills. Now, this advice doesn't always apply. There are many times in life when we absolutely need that passion. And for certain personality type, a mundane job does not. It's not going to sit well. However, in this particular situation, the advice here from Rishi is to forego your expectation about what makes you tick and what makes you passionate about your career. This is only temporary. Because if just like group one, PAL one earlier, where I actually spoke about the need to balance both emotional fulfillment from a job and the material success that comes from a job. In this particular PAL, it feels like the message is to actually focus more on the material success that comes from this job and to forego a little bit of emotional fulfillment and enthusiasm. I know that's really important, but the advice here is actually to lay low and I want you to sort of cut back on your enthusiasm and be practical about it and to focus more on the money, the material security that you're receiving from this job, and to perhaps demand less of emotional and career fulfillment for the time being. For the time being. I am also getting a sense that there is a lack of clarity in the team. There are certain things that are going on in the team or the company that is not being completely clarified. And as a result, there is some doubt and uncertainty that is lingering on. And you know how it is, something's going on with a new division or a new team, or maybe there are cutbacks, and everyone's trying to figure out what's going on. In this particular case, you're you are advised to not participate in any of that guessing game. Your advice is to stop speculating about what may or may not happen. Your advice from the oracle reading is to not be so fearless and bold in this current time. I think for Paul too, you you're very passionate about what you do, and that has served you very well. However, this is not the time to push forward with your agenda. This is a time to lay low and not fight back. So, for Paul 2 out there, I understand that this is not that this is a situation that is very uncomfortable for you at the moment, with the responsibility and the office politics and the lack of enthusiasm and the lack of clarity. All that is very legitimate, and you've got a reason to be upset. On a very objective point of view, though, you have to be you have to give full consideration to the material security that comes with this job. And there is a very hopeful situation that is coming out of this. You may not see it yet, or it has yet to come, but it will soon. It will become obvious soon. So hang in there. Don't just give up yet if you can, and take a step back. There's a time to be fearless and bold, and you've been like that for a while now. But this is actually the time to take a big step back. And I hope this works out for you. I wish you all the luck. I hope you've enjoyed the reading. If you have, give this video a like and a subscribe. Bye bye. Hi, Group 3. Welcome to your career guidance reading. So, things have not been working out so well for you. You might have lost your job and you're having a hard time looking for employment. Or if you have your own business or self employed, um, things have been really slow. So, despite your best effort and whatever hard work you've put in to build up your business, and things are just not working out at the moment, and you feel stuck. Money is slow to come in, and your and opportunities are few and far between, if any at all. As a result, you are emotionally detached and disappointed. Um, for some of you, you might be wallowing in self pity, and for some others, it might be escapism into drinking or any other recreational activities. Now, despite this happening, there is good news. Now, for some of you within Pile 3, this might be a new creative inspiration. And this is a significant creative inspiration. It could be a side hustle that seems inconsequential at the beginning, that, oh, this is just a for fun thing. I'll have fun doing this. This may or may not make money. But don't let that logical mind get in the way. Because whatever you're being inspired to do is going to get somewhere, and it's going to get pretty far. It's just not so obvious at the moment. So pay attention to that. Now, for the other portion of people who chose pile 3, there is a different kind of stirring. It is a spiritual stirring within you. Whatever that's been happening materially in the worldly sense has affected and shook you so fundamentally that you turned that search inwards. You went from an outward search for material security into an inward search. And there is an aha moment for you. You may have been practicing spirituality for a while, or it may be completely new to you. Whatever the case might be, this is significant. If you're having a spiritual aha moment and a form of awakening, pay attention to it. And because it's going to be very helpful for you. Whatever that's happening is happening for a reason. It may not be obvious and it certainly isn't easy. But as a consequence, something else is emerging. But for the majority, I feel that it's a spiritual awakening and or a new creative aspiration. Now, the advice from Rishi is to take back the control for your own emotional needs. Your emotions have been going wild for a while now, and it's completely understandable. Money and how we value ourselves, and in turn how that affects our emotions, are very closely related. So I completely empathize, and I understand how difficult it might be. But it is in times of incredible emotional difficulty that we learn to surmount it. Now, because if your emotions were stable every day, you wouldn't know what emotional stability is because it's stable every day. Now, because of the increased volatility in your emotions, that's when the necessity to master your emotion comes in. So take back your agency. Take back your agency within yourself. Keep this in balance because this is very important for what's to come next. Now, for pile 3, I see someone who is very capable. You have a lot of qualities that make you a great employee or great entrepreneur or great hustler. You have professional abilities. Whatever field or whatever endeavor you've been working on, besides this external circumstantial messing things up, you're pretty good at what you do. And you know that. The situation now notwithstanding, you know you're good at what you do. So you need to focus on this. This is the time to hone in on what works for you, what you're good at, what you're capable of delivering, where your abilities are, and hone in on those skills. This is a very positive sign. You can do it. You just got to get back into your element and focus on that. Focus on success. And for the other advice is to also take a step back and rest. It may feel counterintuitive when things are moving so slowly. All you want to do is just keep moving forward and to pick the pace up. The advice, however, is actually to sit back and to contemplate on your next move. There's a time for rest and a time for work. And now is the time to rest before you work. So if you have a practice, be it a meditation practice or just some solitude time, now don't try to reflect on where you want to go forward. This is a time to re-strategize, to to reconfigure your career direction or where you wish to move forward. There is no such thing as no options. There is always options. It's just where we choose to look at. It may feel to you that there is no more option, but there is. And so you have to remember that all is not lost. And most importantly, for my PAL 3, you have to persevere. This is a character and strength building moment. You're being tested, and I know it's painful, but you have to persevere. This is not the time to lose yourself and your emotions. This is a time to get it together. This is time to be your best again. You have to take care of your own well-being. And by taking care of your own well-being, emotionally and physically and mentally, can you carry on? So don't give up. This is definitely the card of carrying on. Looking forward, staying vigilant, being prepared, being ready. This is not being ready. You are asked to step out of your emotions and and take up the mental. This is not the time to give up. However hopeless you may think the situation is, you are asked not to give up at this point in time. And the advice for you is to be like a chameleon and act as if. Now, a chameleon changes color according to its environment. And your guidance here is to be like a chameleon, adapt to the changes that are going on. So there is also the advice you're faking it till you make it. And in this case, if you have a particular inspiration, a creative idea that you want to pursue, don't hold yourself back. On the other hand, if you're in the portion of the POW where you're having a spiritual direction to go to, or you've been wanting to work on yourself, well, this is the time you figure out what is authentically you. And for those who are suffering from financial hardship at the moment, the advice from Spirit is that help will come. Help will come. And it's important to have faith in these darkest times. The circumstance will never be permanent and things will keep changing. So it's important to keep your head up, keep your emotions at bay, and adapt. This is a time of adaptation. So for Pal 3 out there, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you do, please give a thumbs up, like it, and subscribe. Bye bye. Hi, Pal 4. Welcome to your career guidance reading for today. So this is an interesting Pal. So for Pal 4, there is a major endeavor that you guys have been working on for quite some time now. It may be a business, or it may be a role or a project within your job, or it could just be your career. Whatever endeavor that you've been working on, you are hoping to accomplish it, but you're not there yet. So there is two possibilities in PAL 4. The first group within PAL 4, this group is faced with a choice between taking on more risk, basically having a more aggressive approach to your endeavor, or being more defensive at the moment and taking some risk off that table. Now, if you're in a business, that would be balancing between the risk you take on and the reward that comes with it. Now, whatever you've been doing, whatever endeavor that you've been working on, it has proven, it has a track record so far. There, at the start, there were a couple of financial obstacles, or just obstacles within the workspace, where you've managed to overcome it. And whatever initial insecurities there might be with respect to this endeavor, um, you have done a good job overcoming it. However, now you're faced with a choice of greater expansion, and that comes with its own set of risk. So you're faced with that dilemma. Do I push forward and expand and get aggressive, take on more risk in view of greater rewards, or do I actually hold back and cut back at this point in time? So this is one possibility. There is a second possibility, and I feel like this is a smaller portion for people who have picked PAL 4, and that is you're in a partnership. You're in a partnership with a either it's a business partner, or there's a coworker that you're working very closely with, and it's a teamwork. There is some form of alliance that has been that you've been through, and that alliance is part of this endeavor, part of this big major endeavor that you've been working on. And things aren't going as smoothly as you had initially anticipated. There's been a difference in opinion in this alliance. On one hand, it's as if your partner has a differing view, um, with where this business could go. One of you appears to be more conservative than the other, um, and the other party may be a little too greedy, and there is you're struggling with trying to reconcile that greed with financial security. Like, how much is enough? That's a question that every business has to ask themselves. At which point is how much expansion is necessary, and when is the right time to cut back? As a result of this differing opinions, you're left with wondering if this alliance or this partnership should continue. Now, for the advice, I am getting that you're not thinking very clearly at the moment. Because of this, because it's such a big endeavor, and because the choices you're faced with are so significant, you're not thinking very logically at the moment. And on top of that, the external circumstances aren't helping because there's a lot of uncertainty and volatility going on externally. So, whatever stressors you might have for the business or for your career, it's actually very much legitimate. So, for the first possibility where you are facing a choice between being aggressive or defensive in your career, that is taking on more risk or taking off risk, your advice here is to lay low, and that is choose security over expansion. because because of the uncertainty and volatility that is going on externally, the business environment, the work environment is not conducive at the moment for expansion and being aggressive. This is the time to play defense, not offense. This choice you have between offense and defense, the answer lies in being conservative at this point in time. Now, for the second possibility in PAL 4, where you're in an alliance or some form of partnership, where you're working with another party or with a group of people. Now, for this other group, you are torn because of differing opinions. And as a result, the advice here is to actually go at it alone. You might have already been contemplating leaving this alliance or this partnership. And the advice here is that your intuition had been right all along. Because the alliance served its purpose for as long as it did. But the alliance is not going to help you accomplish this. And you may have to contend with giving this major endeavor up. Because part of this major endeavor is very much embedded with your partnership. And it's not working out. The advice here is that you're better off on your own and you're better off starting over again. I am also getting a sense that besides differing opinions on how to run the business or how to work around things, you're also having a different sense of life purpose. Perhaps there's some things you would like to pursue in your free time, and it's personal hobby or it's another work related project. Whatever it is, it digresses and deviates from the initial goal of this alliance. And so the advice here is to prioritize your self-interest. Prioritize your self-interest above the group. Prioritize your own well-being. I see a new beginning for you, PAL 4. I see a new beginning. You may be very disappointed that whatever endeavor or project that's happening, that you've been working so hard on, has its basically not working out at the moment. I do see here that it's actually an inevitable end. It was meant to end in some way or other. And now it's ending in a way that you have not initially anticipated. This is not failure. This is just an opening to a new beginning. So you're faced with the choice of forsaking this initial endeavor that you've been working on or continuing to and continuing on your own path. I would say that is the ideal advice being given to you at the moment. For the other portion of you who are stuck in an alliance or a partnership with deviating goals and opinions at the moment, the same advice holds, is to start anew and to go at it alone. Now, your oracle advice is to lay a solid foundation. Now, whatever that you've been working on, it might be coming to an end, or it might be really hitting a turning point. It may even appear like it's a failure. However, all is not lost. Whatever that you've gone through, whatever you've experienced, be it a partnership or just a business that you've been working on, whatever it is, it has laid a layer of foundation for your new chapter. Whatever experiences or skill sets that you have picked up along the way, that's not going anywhere. That you're taking those same skill sets and abilities and applying it to your new chapter. I'm also getting a sense from a small portion of you that you have the ability to just say goodbye to all this and just take time off and luxury and just enjoy yourself. Um, it's obviously a very privileged group that can afford to do this, having the financial independence and means to do so. But for this minority group of people who chose Pal 4, if you've been working on a project for a while and it's not working out, whether from external situations or from a failure of internal failure within the partnership or the organization, you can afford to just basically say, I'm done with this and walk out. And it's still gonna benefit you. So for those group of people who have the financial independence and means to do so, the advice is actually for you to just leave it all behind and focus on your emotional well-being. Because whatever you have worked on, it has laid its foundation. You've got a really good foundation here. So there's nothing for you to worry about. For the rest of you, there is a new opportunity. You may already know what this opportunity is. Either way, it's coming towards you. So for Pal 4 out there, you have achieved a, a lot here. And whatever crossroads you find yourself at this point of time, it's meant to happen to bring you towards a new beginning. And you basically got the end card and the start card of the major arcana in your reading right here. The world here represents the end, and the Fool here represents a new beginning. You are about to close a chapter to start a new one. It may not be ending on a note that you have as an expectation, but it's close enough. So for pile 4, if you're faced with a choice about aggressive expansion or being more prudent, I would advise you to err towards the side of caution. And for the other possibility within pile 4, where you are faced with the choice regarding your current business partnership or your alliance with the company or your coworkers, the advice is to go at it alone. So, and either way, the outcome is beautiful. You've got a new beginning where you could focus entirely on fulfilling your own wishes because you've laid a good solid foundation, whatever you've been doing. So don't focus on how it's not meeting your expectations at the moment. Focus on what you have accomplished, your journey throughout this big endeavor that you've been trying to accomplish. Focus on what you have accomplished and not what is missing or lacking in your expectation. All right, group 4, I hope you enjoyed your reading for today. If you do, give it a like and subscribe. Thank you and see you all another time.